Welcome to Green and Woke on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed this segment. The link to the entire podcast can be found in the description box. Yes, hello, and we're back. This is Kimberly Ryans, your host of Green and Woke, and we have a really interesting guest today. His name is Keith Cross, MC, PhD. Right. You heard it correctly. You don't hear that very often, but he is an MC and he's a doctor, aka Dr. Barz. Hello, Keith. How are you today?
Hey Kim, how you doing? I'm happy to be here. How you doing?
I am so great, and I'm so happy to have you on. We've been trying to do this interview for a little while, and we finally have you here.
Yeah. We in some rough times right now. All good.
Exactly. So, first and foremost, you are a professor at the University of Hawaii. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, what you teach, and your path from Hawaii to your hometown of Los Angeles? Tell us a little bit about how you got there.
Okay, I'm gonna try to tell you the short version.
Okay.
So I'm at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I'm the assistant professor of multilingual and multicultural education.
Oh, wow.
And sort of in a nutshell, I look at my job as really just sort of teaching people how to be as dope as possible. So I'm in curriculum studies, which kind of allows me to kind of operate a little bit outside of the bounds of, the normal things that we think about schooling. I get to really just think about learning and, how people learn and sort of how to maximize, the way I see it is maximize their ability to be themselves, like the best version of themselves.
Oh.
So, I mostly work with PhD students and master students, so people who are already teachers and trying to be teacher leaders or become researchers. And I do work with some pre-service teachers, so people who are just going into the teaching field.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And you do it in Hawaii, so that's more awesome. Yeah.
That's the job. Now, as far as, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
Oh, to answer the other question, like how I got here. So,
right.
My wife
yes.
is also a professor here.
Okay.
And actually, I followed her. I even followed her to grad school. That's another story for another day. But she got the job here first.
Okay.
And I was still in grad school. I was on fellowship, just finishing up my dissertation and stuff. And then I ended up getting a job that just really fit what I do. And because basically my job, actually my job qualification requires a person to have expertise at the intersection of art, culture, language, and music.
Oh,
which is kind of
that sums it up, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying. So that's kind of how I ended up doing this job. But obviously with all of the racism and stuff there, my wife and I, a very long time ago, kind of thought about, we ran across this book called Quitting America.
Okay.
And it was basically written by this brother. I don't remember his name, but he was in St. Kitts. And he was like, yo, black people, I know you think that everywhere else in the world is a third world country and that you can't sort of have a high standard of living in other places, but there are places where we are treated like human beings and you should think about going to.
Oh.
So, we didn't necessarily plan to come to Hawaii, but we kind of always planned to see what life was outside of a place where, even though they love our productions and the things that we do for them, they despise us.
Oh, yes.
So, whether it was Hawaii or somewhere else.
And it's so evident. It's so evident, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's the short version.
Okay. Well, wow. Yeah, that sums it up. That was just the job for you because you literally link music and science together, and it's incredible. You're so talented. So, what are your thoughts on that? Linking them together. Linking music and science.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny. I feel like science and music have always been linked.
Okay.
And I think, we just don't necessarily know about it. I think some of the things that we inherit as religion and things like that, these were, people sort of trying to make sense of the world. And a lot of things that you might inherit as like scripture, whether it be from the Bible or the Quran, like the people who wrote these things were writing songs. These things used to be oral, and the only thing, so like anytime, you want something to be packaged and memorable, you tell a story, you tell a song, and that kind of makes it more portable for how the human mind works.
That is so true. That's profound. It is. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I consider myself like just in a lineage of people who do this kind of work. I think, some of your oldest cultures, this is what they did. You know what I mean? Like they took the science of the world and they embedded it in stuff that would help people for generations. Even if in the moment they weren't able to unpack, every line or whatever, then you come a time and you people done forgot who they were, but you still got this story. And it turns out that the story actually is rooted in ways that will actually allow you to navigate the world, not just morally, but scientifically, whether it's, dietary laws or, rules and rituals around farming, or even, how to get your groove on. Like a lot of these things you find in these different scriptures.
Wow.
Which will, originally in a lot of cases were written as poetry, written as songs, because these people also, like me, were cognitive scientists. They were like, if I want this stuff to last generations, I need to put it in a certain format so that it can survive.
That is amazing. And you really don't look at it like that. You just think, well, like the Songs of Solomon, like that's really a profound book in the Bible. So I see what you're saying. That's great. Oh my goodness. Because your music, I mean, it's so educational. I mean, it's so much information in your bars. It's like, wow, that really makes me think. He really just put that out there like that. And I was able to digest it when I heard it in a different way. So that's incredible.
Yeah, thanks. I have to kind of take a note from Black Up. He started putting out these really short projects.
Okay.
And I realized I should start doing it too. So a lot of my volumes now, I've been putting out like these 3-song volumes because people got to chew on them.
That's
you know what I mean? Like, ain't no sense in giving you, 40 minutes to listen to. 15 minutes is more than enough.
That's true. That's true. Get to the point and let them know what you want to convey. So, what are some of your other musical influences?
Man, it's a long list, but I grew up in the church.
Okay.
My granny, she sang the blues, sang gospel. And my dad was into funk, so if I ever want to be in a good mood, I'm gonna turn on Rick James and play Give It To Me, Baby.
Okay. Right. It touches a certain spot, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when they did the verses with Isley and
yes.
2 weeks ago, man, I was in heaven.
Yes, I know. It was so good. It just brought back all these memories, and oh wow, it was awesome. That was talent right there. Real music.
Yeah, man, that's how I got here.
Oh yeah, that was really great. I need to watch that again, as a matter of fact. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, also, you're so passionate about your green beliefs, and you even have songs talking about it and everything. Tell us a little bit about that and what you feel about the environment and just planet Earth, period, and what we can do to save it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I feel like humans have been blessed with an amazing amount of intelligence and vision.
Yes.
And I think, with that comes, the responsibility of taking care of our environment.
Exactly.
I don't think we have all the answers, but I do believe that, I think we got a lot of hubris, and I think, a lot of greed, and I think, I think those things are just really short-sighted. And for me at least, I feel like, one of my jobs is to kind of, like I said, like it's part of my lineage is just to bring people the truth.
Yes.
So I'm actually doing a talk next week about just kind of some of the things that I've been doing. So I think the one that you were talking about, like No Beef for Swine,
right?
That is one of many songs in which I'm actually putting sort of indigenous wisdom in conversation with contemporary notions of science.
Oh, okay.
And and environment. And our ancestors have dealt with these things before.
Exactly. Nothing's new under the sun, as they say.
Yeah, and we kind of operate under this assumption that our ancestors were all somehow ignorant or somehow primitive, and that's just an assumption. Like, yeah, maybe the sort of the generations that we have the most recent historical memory of were maybe a little bit, I guess maybe we know a little more than them, but that wasn't.
So we think.
Like all of nature, you know what I mean? Like all of nature moves in waves and cycles, and so
Yes.
like whatever pinnacle that we think we're at, it's not the first and it's not the last.
Right.
You know, and every pinnacle is followed by a decline.
Right.
And that decline is usually brought on by being irresponsible in the ways that we're being irresponsible.
That's right. That is so true.
So, I mean, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, like everybody uses computers, we have phones or whatever, but there's a small percentage of the population that actually knows how to make computers, right?
Yes.
And then there's an even smaller percentage of those people who know how to make the materials that go in the computers, right?
Right.
And so, like all it would take was, a serious enough consequence of our irresponsibility for us to be blown back to, a Stone Age existence.
Ooh, we would know what to do. Oh my goodness.
We wouldn't know what to do. 99% of the population wouldn't know what to do.
No.
You know what I mean? And we tend to think, but yet we think we're so much smarter than the people who came before.
Right.
And, but the proof is in the pudding. If our water levels are rising because of us spending money on things that we don't need to spend money on, spending energy on things that we don't need to spend energy on. If people are, we have supposedly, at least the opportunities and the knowledge to live healthy lives, but people are passing away at 40 and 50 years of age.
That is so true.
You know what I mean? Like that's primitive to me.
It is.
That is primitive.
And I was just thinking the other day that so many, like the generation before us, so many are living to, in their late 80s, 90s, 100s, and it's like, oh, but we're so much smarter than them. We have so much more technology, and medically we're so much farther ahead. And there's something wrong with that. All this medication that we're taking, the side effects are worse than the, causing the problem. It's just terrible. It's terrible. We need to really think about all of this, because they knew something that we are not doing right now to live that long. Yeah. So, wow.
Those are my thoughts. And I mean, I can answer more specific questions, of course.
Of course. But if they would like to hear more of your music and learn more about you, where can they go? What are your websites, social media handles, etc.?
Okay, yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Doctabarz.com. So that's DOCTABARZ.com. There you'll find all of my music, all of my videos that I'm doing. You'll even find some of my scholarship. So I did for my degree, I did a brain study on expert freestyle rappers, and so I kind of give like a little breakdown of what that was about, what we found, and at the core, I love my discipline as a lyricist. Like I love my culture as a hip hopper, and I so a lot of the work that I do is because and the roots, of course, of all of that. So the blues, the soul, the jazz, like just the black ways of being that have circumvented the globe several times over.
Wow.
A lot of my work is just to bring attention to the fact that, what we do is intellectually rigorous, it's complex, and, it's associated with certain types of adaptations neurologically, perceptually, even in our learning habits. Okay. So, that's kind of what my research is about. So I even got a scholarship page on my website. So, you can kind of go down the rabbit hole there. And I got those King's lessons. I got about 4 volumes that you can get access to on the website. So that's Doctabarz.com.
Okay, great. So are you on Facebook or Instagram or any of those?
Yeah, all of those places. It's just at Doctabarz. Again, Doctabarz.
Okay, great. Oh, wow. This has been so interesting. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for stopping by Green and Woke. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll put all of this information on our social media sites as well. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
This was amazing. And like I say, a couple of those songs going to be playing over in my head to help me help my journey as well. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, not only is it informative, it's so entertaining. The beats, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling it. So, thank you. And enjoy Hawaii. I've never been there. Hopefully, I can visit one day when all of this pandemic stuff is over, you know, and we can travel freely again.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, stay healthy. That's the main thing.
Okay, you too. And you have a great day.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye-bye. All righty. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next month for an all-new episode of Green and Woke. And remember to keep it simple, keep it constant, keep it green, and together we can build a better planet. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Green and Woke. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel for great new content.